Hello, welcome to my watercolor gathering today. I'm really happy you joined me, and I hope this helps you in your watercolor journey. And today I'm having fun with watercolor and tissue paper and sheet music. And we are going to create this really pretty sunflower painting using tissue paper, sheet music, and watercolor. Enjoy.
Today, and this is going to be tissue paper I'm going to use for the background. I'm going to use Hooker's Green Light. I have some Windsor Blue that I was gifted, and I'm going to try that today. Cadmium Yellow, Ultramarine Blue, and Cerulean Blue. And we're going to use a combination of these colors to do a background for this painting, a collage. So first of all, I'm going to do a wet into wet background. Let's see.
So to start out with the wet and wet technique, I'm wetting the background of a 12 by 16 watercolor block, 140 pound cold pressed. And I'm using a mixture of cerulean blue, little ultramarine, and the Windsor blue that I have not really used much. And also cadmium yellow, Hooker's Green Light at the bottom. Then I have one sheet of tissue paper that I lay on top of the watercolor paper, and then I add some, crunch it up, and then I add some dark color. And this dark color will create all sorts of textures in this background. And I'm putting the blue, darker blue down into the green, and then adding the green and some yellow. And this is going to be a really fun background. While the background is drying, and it takes overnight to dry, I'm taking my sheet music and I'm cutting out the petals of these sunflowers. They may even be coneflowers, but they're pretty bright yellow flowers. And I'm just laying them out so I know how I'm going to lay them out in the painting. So the painting is dried overnight, and now I'm taking the tissue paper off. You have to be kind of careful because sometimes this sticks, so you might have some top of the paper peel off. And then I'm going to lay out where I'm going to put my flowers. So I'm sort of putting the composition together right now. And then I decided that the background was a little busy, so you couldn't see the sheet music. So I'm going to add some yellow tissue paper behind the sheet music petals. And now I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. That way it has a background to it. And sometimes these sort of paintings or collages don't work out, so you have to kind of go with the flow and decide how you're going to do it. So here I'm using Elmer's glue. I glue the paper, then I put down the tissue paper, then I put a bit more glue down, and then I put the sheet music over the tissue paper. And then for the center of the flower, I'm using orange tissue paper. I did put a piece of yellow tissue paper in the center of this, but before it dried, I took it out because I decided I didn't like that. So, you know, you have to, like I said, you have to go with the flow with these things to see how it's going to work and if you're going to like it. And here are a couple of images of the truly organic textures I achieve with the tissue paper on the wet and wet background. And those will come in useful in the remainder of the painting after I get the collage done. Once the tissue paper and the sheet music is all dry, and again this took overnight, so this painting took at least 3 days, if not 4, between the drying process. I am now painting in some cad yellow, and I've mixed permanent rose and cadmium yellow to come up with orange, and also then using some burnt sienna and some sepia to add some detail to the stamens in the center of the flower. And then I'm going to do that with all of the petals. And eventually I color the whole petal in with cadmium yellow. Now I'm going to start work on defining some of the leaves using the organic shapes that were created with the tissue paper. And I just put in some leaf shapes that are similar to sunflower leaves. They're almost heart-shaped, but a little elongated. I also will put in some more stems, and so what I do is I just paint using the watercolors, and I'm using a mixture of Hooker's Green Light and Cadmium Yellow. And now with some Winsor Blue, I am doing some negative painting around the petals to darken the background and help the flower stand out from the background. Currently it's looking a little lost in there, so I did that to help that stand out. Then after it was all said and done, I still was not too happy with it, so I took a large or 1.5-inch brush with some very, very wet paint and went in and put some abstract sort of lines and leaves over the top. And the sheet music that I use for this is Tales from the Vienna Woods by Johann Strauss. And then I left it once more overnight and decided that it still needed a little bit more depth in the organic material at the bottom of the painting, so the leaves and the stalks and stuff. So I went in again with my large 1.5-inch brush and used some Hooker's Green Light and some Winsor Blue mixed to create a really dark, rich green. And then I still decided it needs some more depth, so I went in with a little Hooker's Green Light mixed with Payne's Grey to add some darker, to give some impression of some shadow in that greenery. Hope you enjoyed this and hopefully it was helpful. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like this video. Leave any comments that you might have below. Thanks a lot for joining me.